It Ends With Us movement empowers women to heal from relationship traumas and break generational cycles. We aim to create an ongoing platform for education, collaboration, and awareness, uniting industry experts and other nonprofits to support communities affected by emotional abuse and domestic violence. Together, we are creating a movement where women support women, where we learn to recognize our worth, and where we commit to ensuring that the traumas we experienced stop with us. We are stronger together, and together we can end these cycles. Thank you, everyone, for joining my podcast today, Soul Purpose, Healing Beyond Your Scars. Today, I have a special guest with me sharing her story through her journey of healing. My special guest is Gina, one of my close friends. And today we're going to be talking about her healing journey, how we met, and kind of how we really grew together during this process. And it's kind of unique. So I'd like Gina to introduce herself and kind of share your story of how we met.
Hi, I'm Gina. We met, my best friend is Dana's cousin, Christina, and we've been friends since 5th grade. And I remember hearing about Dana, but I didn't really see her until high school. I'll never forget, you came to my religion class to talk to us. I was a freshman in high school at Driscoll, and you came and told your story. And again, when we were younger, I heard about it, but I never heard it from you. I actually remember exactly where I was sitting in the classroom when I was just watching you talk, and I was like, wow, she's really, really strong. I was actually I was a little freshman. I had no idea what I was going to hear. And then as the years, I was in high school, you were older. So I would see you at graduation things or little parties, but we really got closer once when Christina was getting married. We traveled together. We went to Italy. No, we went on the Bachelorette together. We went to Italy together, stood up in the wedding. So, that was kind of when I started coming out of my shell more. I was like, wow, I love Dana's energy. I just felt like you were a big sister to me. But what really made us closer, I think traveling together really helped. But just watching you, knowing what you went through and just watching you live so happily and just carefree and always just smiling or, oh, guys, let's do this. I was the type where I go anywhere. I don't want to dance. I want to sit there. And you were like, Gina, come on, let's dance. And I was like, oh, wow. All right. She's fun. So you kind of helped me grow out of my shell a little bit. I was always really quiet, didn't really, not that once you know me, I'm not quiet at all. But, when I first meet people, I was kind of quiet, and you kind of pulled that out of me, where you made me, I don't know, see life differently.
It's awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like we all evolve as we get older. And I'm older and I've been through a lot of experiences, but so have you. So yeah. You kind of helped me grow too during our friendship and sharing a story, my story and your story. The reason why it's unique, but also very similar to a lot of people, but it is unique because sometimes you don't get to share it with you don't get to share your healing journey with somebody if you're not on the same level with them. No. And if you don't have the support. So I want really people to kind of resonate with your healing journey and my healing journey, because it's, like I said, it's a great story, but I want to be able for people to resonate it well, and they will. So take us back. You said a little bit about you being shy, but obviously once you get to know you, you're not. You're amazing.
I don't shut up.
But what was it like before? Again, we met when you heard my story and you saw me and whatever. But what was it like before I met you? So before you started your healing journey, what was life like?
It was really quiet. I didn't really go anywhere. I was kind of just in my own little shell. I was kind of like a little hermit crab, honestly. It was just very, I don't know, I felt kind of held back in a way, but I didn't really know. I had my friends, but there was a lot of things that I kind of missed out on. in my 20s, where as I was getting older, I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to spend my whole life sitting in my house. I don't know. It was pretty boring and just kind of sad, a little chaotic too. That's how life is. But I just felt held back in a way.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about that. I know your past and your experience, but like, what are things that hold us back? Like
fear holds you back 100%. And the unknown, a lot of people say, I was one of them. I was always like, I hate change. When I was young, I went to 3 different grammar schools. I went somewhere from 1st to 2nd grade. That school closed. Then I went somewhere from 3rd to 4th and then 5th to 8th. So, in every school, I'd be like, Mom, I don't want to go. Like, I hate change. And as I got older, I would always say I hated change. I don't know if it was from that, but once I started growing more, I was like, I don't know why I hate change, because I'm actually really good at it. I adapt to it well. At first, anybody going through a change, you're like, oh my God, this isn't normal to me. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. You don't like it, but you need to do those things in order to grow. And I didn't really realize that until I really pushed myself, where I was like, all right, maybe I'm not as bad at change as I think I am. Like, I'm actually really well at it. I just never believed it. And I had to push myself through pretty drastic changes to realize that. In the beginning, I had not negative mindset, but I just had that I hate change. And I think it came from when I was younger, going through different schools. I hated it. I was like, I don't want to be a new person. I remember 5th grade, I would cry every day. Christina remembers me crying because I would say I missed my mom.
Yeah.
But, I think, and I don't know where that thought came from when I was younger, but, as you get older, you realize that you need to go through change in order to grow. Even if you don't like it, you're not going to like change at first, but then as you do it, you're like, all right, maybe it isn't so bad. And then you kind of see life differently.
Yeah. That's interesting that you say that, because I never really, when I think about you, I mean, that is something right there, what you explained, like that was something you think is not traumatic, right? But for a child, to go through a lot of change. Now, on top of that, you faced a lot more traumatic things through your parents, your grandparents passing, all these traumatic things that happen through your life, when you don't think about something that acute to like, that's something during your childhood that affected you a lot. And if you think about your life now, that kind of creeps up. It does. Definitely.
Things. That's why I was always so fearful of change. I mean, when I got to 5th grade and had to go to the new school, I had to get braces. I had to get glasses. I was like, oh my God, I'm a nerd and I'm at a new school. Like, I thought I was going to have no friends. I mean, you think that when I was in 5th grade, right. I remember I would tell my mom, I don't want to be a new kid. And she's like, in 2 weeks, you'll be old, you'll be fine. And I mean, that's where I met Christina. So, and I met a lot of good friends. But yeah, when you don't think of it at the time, but then as you get older, I was like, wow, maybe that's where that came from, with me always hating change, because I don't know. Right when I was like getting comfortable, I had to leave the school. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I don't want to, but I mean, whatever.
And then when you got to high school, you got in a relationship.
Yeah.
That relationship was so long, right?
Oh, almost 16 years. I mean, I got out of it when I was 33. So I mean, that was half of my life. And that's when I said I was like a hermit crab. I didn't, which I'm so grateful that I have the friends I do, and that, they stayed friends with me, because they could have been like, you know what, screw you, Gina, you don't come to anything, you don't want to do anything, but they still kept in touch with me, and I still maintain relationships. But that's what I mean when I went through like a hermit stage. Like, I did not go anywhere. Like, I mean, I wasn't your average 20-year-old. I was always at home with my boyfriend at the time. But the only silver lining in that I look at is, my dad obviously passed when I was 30, and I was able to spend so much time with him. So it's like, there is a reason for everything. Yeah. And I think maybe I stayed home like that not knowing that I wasn't going to have my dad my whole life, so I am, everyone always has like, negative outlooks. No, I try to look at the positive. And was I in a relationship for a long time? Yeah, but I also learned a lot, and I was able to have so many memories with my dad, and I was able to spend all those years, I went to Elmhurst College. I was home during college. I didn't go out, I didn't go stay somewhere. I was home, I was a homebody. I was in small schools my whole life. Elmhurst was small. I liked it because it was small classes. It was close to home. So I just didn't. I always wanted to be home. And I think that there was a reason for that because I didn't have dad after 30. So
there's a silver lining in everything.
Yeah.
Everything in life, and everything that like I went through. Again, it's even though it's people say too, like, oh my God, this happened to you. Like, no, I mean, my trauma is just as equal as your trauma.
Yeah,
so whether it's just different. So everyone has their trauma that happens in their life, and people kind of look at trauma as being something so traumatic, like either what happened to me, or like a death, or you don't have to go through such a big trauma for we all experience trauma.
Yeah,
like I said,
ways.
the you switching schools.
Yeah,
it could be a parent. It could be anything. A little kid going through a traumatic experience on a vacation, or like something at school even with their friends. Like, you just never know that every single person from their child to adulthood goes through trauma. So as far as like the silver lining, going back to that, it's like when you go through something, like I always thought from that day, the day I opened my eyes, I knew that God put me in that situation because if it wasn't me that was going to put this person into jail or face the consequences of his actions, it would have been someone else that wouldn't have survived. So the silver lining, going back to the silver lining, it's like there's a silver lining in everything.
And
there's a purpose.
As hard as it is, a lot of people, it's hard to think positive when you feel like all negative things happen, or, when you go through something and it's not what you want or whatever, you automatically I don't know if it's my brain or everyone's, I don't know, but it's hard to rewire yourself to think like, okay, like there is some good out of it. So that's why I was like, you know what? Did I miss out on a lot on my 20s? Yes. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that I wasn't out partying at bars and I was spending time with my dad, because those are memories that are going to stay in my heart forever. And you can't buy back that time, Yeah. So maybe there was a reason that I was a hermit crab for 16 years.
Yep, it is. And yeah, so kind of going back to that, like that's where when you said that when you actually felt like you needed to change and put something.
Yeah. I think before that, I was always so used to just, I'm so like, that's why I say I'm good at change, and I'm also good at thriving in chaos. I lived with my Nana my whole life. I was 19. My Nana died. That was like a second mother to me. I mean, she literally she helped my mom raise me. Like, she lived with me my whole life, did everything. I was so close to her. So I lost her at 19. And then when I was 20 or 21, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, had a stem cell transplant. She was in the hospital for 2 months. That alone was really traumatic. I thought my mom was going to die. And then, and I was always I had such strong women in my life to look up to: my Nana, my mom, my grandma, and everyone is always just okay. Like, okay, I'm strong. Like my Nana, I've seen my Nana cry maybe twice my whole life. Like, that woman was one of the strongest ladies I've ever seen. And, I was so used to growing up looking at that, where I thought I had to be like that. And I always was. I mean, some of my friends are like, Gina, you are so strong, and I'm like, well, what other choice do you have? And then when I said that, I was like, oh my God, I sound like Nana. But I mean, you have to be strong. But then there are moments where you realize like, okay, I'm not okay. Like, I can't do this on my own. And for me, that hit when my dad died. It was like 3 weeks after he died. Obviously I didn't take it well. It was really hard for me. And I remember I was crying. I was outside. I was drinking my coffee and I was crying. And I was just like, you know what? Like, it's okay to not be okay,
Yep.
And that was something that was so hard for me to realize. I was against therapy my whole life. Like I was like, oh, I'm strong. I don't need therapy. I'm
well,
fine.
that's how we were raised, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You have these strong Italian women that are, not that they're against it, but they're just like, oh, we handle it. We're okay. We don't talk about it. We're strong, and I was so used to watching that in my life. And then with my dad, I wasn't okay. And I'm like, my friends can only help so much. Like I can't do this on my own. So that's when I was like, you know what? I got my laptop out and I was looking up therapists. I'm like, there is no way that I'm going to get through this on my own. And, I was reading so many quotes, and one quote that really stood out to me was, a queen will turn her pain into power. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to let this, like, my dad died. That's unfortunate, but that's life. You're going to lose a parent. You're going to lose both your parents in your life. You're going to lose people that you love so much. And my Nana was the first one. And then my dad, like anyone that knows me knows how close I was to both of them. And you have to, that's why I was like, you know what, with Nana, I was younger. Your mind at 19 to when you're 30, when you lose somebody, at 19, I was going through school, my mind was, obviously I was heartbroken, but it was easier to deal with at 19 than it was at 30 because it happened unexpected. My Nana was old. My dad was young, so, I needed help. There was no way that I was going to be able to do it on my own.
Yep.
And that was the best decision I made, because once I did that, and I remember after like the first therapy session, I was like, wow, like I was so against this for so long.
Yep.
And
it's like an epiphany. Like,
and you don't need something like a parent dying for you to realize like therapy isn't bad, and everyone has I feel like it's looked at so like, oh, you're in therapy. Like, what are you, crazy? Or, people have all different kinds of outlooks, but I think anybody can benefit from it.
Yes. Talking to a stranger, just like going through your traumas and why do you do the things you do? Like it all stems from childhood. It really does. It all stems from childhood, and we got to get that stuff out. And sometimes when you're with your friends, you don't talk deep. You don't go into that conversation. You grow up with your friends. You're out there having fun.
Yeah.
Growing bonds. But at the same time, you don't really talk about those kinds of things. So I feel like when we met, like when we became closer, you were going through therapy.
Yeah.
And then I remember you saying your therapist was going on leave of absence, and you were like, what am I going to do? But I want you to share. Yeah. Right. I want you to share though, like, this is why the whole purpose of what I'm doing and what I'm doing with my nonprofit and why I wanted to start this podcast is because like it's talking about it. Is people don't talk about it. And when I was going through all my experiences in my life, there wasn't my friends there they weren't going through the same thing. So I thought, how am I gonna, who can I go to? Where do I go for support? Like you just don't know where to go. And my friends at the time were busy, raising their kids, and they were always, so your friends are, they're getting married, they're raising their kids. Like you don't want to bother.
Exactly. I don't want to, oh, Gina's calling again because she's crying,
Right. It's very hard.
Yeah. And any of my friends would have dropped everything for me and been there, but I just didn't want to put that burden on them.
Yeah. Right.
And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. I'm not gonna let, my dad dying make me like, you either let it make you or you break you, And I was like, I'm not gonna, like, this is not gonna be the end of my life. Like that I have to, just get through it. And I was so used to too, like pushing, even with my dad, like, again, like once I went to therapy, I dealt with it, but I was so used to too, like pushing it aside and being like, all right, I'm fine. And when you do that, that doesn't help either, because then it'll all hit you one day where you're like, okay, I'm really not fine. And even seeing therapy, you have to really be open. Like you have to really unpack a lot. And that's hard too, to unpack like why you think the way you do, or, it is hard at first. It was.
What would you say the most important thing that you learned about yourself through therapy?
That I don't give myself enough credit. I think that, and again, I mean, you'd think with therapy, I would still be giving myself a little credit. But yeah, I think that, trying to think of how I want
No, you just said something though, like what you think with therapy. Like therapy is good for you to uncover, like, okay, it's okay to talk to us. It's okay to talk through therapy. It's okay to talk about things. It's okay. So that kind of takes you through that bridge, right? It takes you over the bridge. But now you're in the healing journey. You're in it. You're in it. So you're learning. Now you're more aware. And when you're more aware, you're learning things as you go through this journey. So like, I mean, even when you said, like just taking you back to when your therapist is now going on leave of absence, you're like, oh no, like, can I do this on my own?
Yeah.
And you still, but you still,
at first I panicked.
Right. Yeah. You panic, but at first you cannot do it alone.
No,
you need a support group. And so many people don't talk about their issues because they think they're going to be judged. And this, again, all these things go back to fear and go back to the, you got to think about the let them theory, right? You got to let them, let that fear, face that fear, but like, let everyone judge you. Let everyone judge you. It's your journey and you got to do what you have to do, what's best for Gina to grow, to be the most authentic person that you should be and grow into yourself.
And I was always so concerned with what people, and now as I'm getting older, I'm like, I don't care because I know who I am and the people that know me know who I am, and anybody else that thinks different, let them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about support. So friends and support, like how, our relationship was a little bit different because we didn't grow up together, right? It was a new friendship. We were kind of both going through the healing journey together. So, sometimes we can call each other for advice and you call me and I can like level set. So like, I want you to like share with that, like how, and I'm not taking credit for anything. I'm just saying that you also you inspired me during different things and asking questions and during my life. Yeah. During the healing journey, like just things that, that you made me look at a little bit differently too. It's like we coach each other, right? Yeah. It's like having a life coach, but it's like being each other. Yeah. Friends too at the same time. So we get to enjoy each other's fun, but yeah, just kind of share some examples that like where this fear kind of came up into your journey after therapy, like little things where fear comes up where, I can share. Yeah.
Okay. Also, another weird thing about me, I hated walking in anywhere alone. Okay. I'll never forget the one time, actually, it was Christina and Mariola the one time. They're like, go walk to the bathroom alone, Gina. And I was like, could someone just walk with me? I didn't want to go. I did. I was fine. But then like with you,
everything was okay.
Nothing happened. I didn't, but I was always, I didn't want to walk in anywhere alone. I would like wait till you got there or wanted to go with someone or, everyone's going to look at me. Who cares? Who cares if someone looks at you? But yeah, I walk in alone now, even working out. I never liked to work out. You introduced me to it. I mean, I worked out before, just never consistently. And I remember the first week I went, I was going every class with you. And then one of the classes you couldn't go to, and I was about to cancel it. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to walk in alone? And that one day I was like, you know what, Gina, grow up. You're 34 years old. Walk in the class. Okay.
Yeah.
And I walked in. And then ever since that, I was like, wow, I was so scared of what?
Yeah.
It was, and
I think sometimes when you think about that, like we grew up in an environment where we were told what to do all the time. Like it's just that toxic environment because our parents that type of controlling, right? That like, well, our moms, let's say, just our moms. We love our moms, but like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just that, you know, that strong personality, always saying what to do. So like,
Gina, do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you fear that. So like facing your fear and something like
even
that. Even
her, she doesn't like to walk in places alone. I
so
get
that's
it
where
from
it
her.
comes. That's where it comes. But it comes from the generational traumas. That fear inside of you. But like, having a support, having a friend that you can call on that's going through the same type of things or that has went through,
or push you to like, like
you Gina, have that like inner voice, like, Gina, no, like just walk in,
please, Gina. Right. And I did. And I'm a different person. You know, now I'm not scared to walk in places alone. I'm not scared to go to a workout class alone.
Mm-hmm.
What's other examples? Like, oh, there's so many.
But yeah, and that was fear for me too, like going through the different cycles in my life, going through what I went through, going through college, going through relationships, and having a child. And I was always, I was fear like, will my friends judge me? I mean, if I did called off this wedding, what are my friends going to think? I cared about what everyone thought when inside, not listening to my intuition was the worst thing. So like, I feel like our intuitions are so strong.
Yeah, mine is. And I should have listened.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
So, but we learn, right? Because that blocks, there's so many things in life that block your intuition. And that all comes from that childhood trauma, those things in your mind, those negative things in your mind that you're thinking, what if this, what if that, what am I going to do? So it's just, just kind of overcoming that. It's okay. Everybody goes through the same thing, but we have to, in order to grow and evolve and be the best version of yourself, be the best Gina of yourself, you have to kind of, you learn that, you learn that through your journey. But like women support,
I don't know what I'd do without my friends. Like you guys, I mean, Christina was starting a family, so you came into my life for a reason. You know, she couldn't be there for every phone call, or she couldn't, again, I didn't live my 20s. So, I mean, once I hit my 30s and I was like, wow, I'm not being held back anymore. If I'm not happy, I'm going to do, that was another thing too. I was so used to always, because I saw my Nana do it. I saw my dad do it. I saw my mom do it. They would put everybody else in front of them, where I still struggle with it to this day, but setting boundaries and trying to put yourself first, it's hard when you've grown up watching everybody sacrifice themselves and their own happiness for other things.
Yeah.
So that was another thing too, where I was like, you know what? Like, I'm 30. I just lost my dad. Like, I am not gonna just sit here and be sad. I'm gonna live my life and be happy like my dad was. They always say, like, you try to, forgot the quote off the top of my head, but like, you do or you be what you miss most about them. And, my dad, anybody that's known him knows, like, he had like a golden heart. I do too. Everyone says that I have one like him, but he was always so happy. And I was like, you know what? If he was here right now, he would be like, Gina Marie, go out and be happy, live your life and have fun. And that's what made me be like, you know what? It was like an awakening in a way. I didn't go out in my 20s. I was a little chunkier. I didn't feel good. I was like, I don't want to go out. I was even shy to get up and dance, but yeah, I feel like that was kind of when you came into my life, I was like, wow, this girl has been through this. Look at how she lives her life. Like, I need to be like Dana. Like, you just inspired me. And, your energy too, so you were so happy. And I was like, I was always sad, and it just made me want to change and live my life. And you made me look at life a different way.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And it's really just me being me. And I went through a life-changing experience I look at life at a different lens, and then that happened to me at a young age, and then through all the things that I went through. But I feel like, why are we spending the time, thinking about negative thoughts, and like the littlest thing could bring anxieties, the littlest thing could bring fears. And we have so much more to live for. We have one life. Yeah. One life. That's it. Life. And how I feel is, it could be gone in a second. I mean, and that's kind of why I want to promote positive thinking. And like my friends always are like, oh, and you always say like, oh, Dana, you're so positive. Okay, this is positive, but I'm not always positive. I have things in my life that frustrate me, that stress me out. But at the end of the day, I want to show my son that like, life is precious. We want to do good things for people. We want to be good. We want to do, we want to be positive. When you go out or you go on vacation, you do things, you want to make the best of it.
Yeah.
So when I go out with my girlfriends, that's my time to like, really just focus on our happiness together, our whatever it is, any moment in time that I have, and the guilt. I don't feel guilty if I can't make something, because whatever it is, you're doing what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's a big milestone too. It's a big milestone to get over. But like, again, when you go out and you're doing your thing, you gotta be positive, because yes, in a blink of an eye, anything can happen.
Yeah. When you start living for yourself and start doing things for you, you have a different glow too. I mean, God, one of the best compliments I would get would be like, Gina, you look so happy. And I mean, I would prefer that over being, Gina, you're so pretty or whatever. Being told that you look happy, like that's different. Or Gina,
how did that make you feel?
It made me feel like, wow, maybe this positive thinking is helping me a little bit. No, but
you have a different vibe when you walk. I told you that too, Gina. Don't be fear, because my confidence, although everyone has their flaws, like the confidence when you walk into a room and you light up a room,
look down based on
no phone, right? But when you walk into a room, your vibrations,
I actually had someone say that to me. They're like, Gina, when you walked in, like I felt your energy. I've never seen you like this, and I'm like, it's amazing to see. I'm like, she's like, you look better in your 30s than you did in your 20s.
Yeah, it's like it's all vibration. But you're making yourself feel better.
When you heal yourself within, I think that's what made me be like, you know what, like. I feel so good within. Let me feel good with my body too. And I started eating healthier. I started working out more. And that really, I mean, I still need to work on my confidence a little bit. I wouldn't say that I'm perfect at that, but, I think when you look good, you feel good. That's a true quote.
Yep. 100%. Mind, body, and soul.
Literally, it is. You have to be. And, you don't want to, God, my Nana had diabetes. Like, I don't want to go through those problems. My dad, my grandpa, there's such bad heart problems, that's why I was like, I'm not going to have high cholesterol. I'm going to make sure I'm okay so that I'm here for a long time.
Yeah. So you're here for your children.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we think about, like, we've talked about this before too. Like, I'm in my 30s. I'm not married. I don't have kids, but like, I always tell you, Gina, like, you are in the best position ever because you are wiser. Okay. Yeah. So you are wiser. You're stronger. You feel you are going to be the best version of yourself before you're able to become a mother. And that is the most amazing gift I can.
It is.
I always say, like, you can't go, I feel like everything happened in my life for a reason to make me who I am today, but like, can't go back in time. But like, to have that, like, so many people going through divorces, so many people unhappily married, so many people with their children, and they're not fully loving themselves, and they're raising children, and that is transferring to their children. Their negatives, their negative thinking, their anxieties are all transferring to their children. And that's why the whole point of me saying, like, it ends with us. Like, we have to be the healthiest version for our children. I always tell you that, like, so like being in that position, how do you think that that's going to make you a better person? I mean, just think about it. How is that making you?
When you love yourself, you're able to love somebody else the way that they should be.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all from within, and you have to be the best version of yourself. And I mean, my mindset is better at 35 than I was in my 20s. I am way healthier overall, mind, body, and soul, literally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to be the best version of you, and then whatever happens to me.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, I want you to share a little bit about if you can sum up your healing journey, like in like one powerful statement, what would that be?
No matter how big the fire is, you have the power to walk through it. It's true.
Yep.
And you just have to believe that. And I think a lot of people, I mean, me, definitely, I had so much self-doubt, like, oh, I can't do this. No, you can do anything you put your mind to. I am a prime example. I mean, I made a lot of drastic changes and I was like, I'm going to do this. And I would have people be like, oh my God, Gina, you did that. And I was like, yeah, I did. Like, no problem. Like, when I put my mind to something, I will do.
You sure do. You sure do. You're very determined.
I am a very determined
yes,
person.
Very determined.
I am. But yeah, people just need to believe in themselves. And that's hard too, for a long time. I mean, I didn't believe in myself for a long time, and like when you go back to, I stood up in all my friends' weddings, I watched all of them have kids, and then you think, why me? And then I was like, you know what? When you said that, I'm working on the best version of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best thing that I could give to anyone.
Yeah. But in order to do that, we need support, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of going back to like, we always get these like thoughts that kind of try to come back and they try to creep in on us, or we think, someone tries to be negative to us and it starts to make us negative and we're like, oh, no, this is not going to happen.
Coming out.
Right. Old Gina's coming out. Like, but it triggers, there's triggers because we're always going to have triggers, but it's how do you control those triggers? And I think that having the support system and having somewhere to go, having people to talk to. I mean, this is the whole purpose of the movement that I'm trying to create, is that why are we keeping things in? Like when we go out and we're amongst each other, like we talk about life. We don't talk about other people. Like we talk about life and what we're going through, what we're thinking. We talk about, anything, but it's just a different vibe.
Yeah. And surrounding yourself with positive people is it's the best thing that you can do for yourself. I saw a video the other day on Instagram where it showed, like strawberry and then next to a moldy one. And then it shows all the rest of them became moldy. If you are around one negative person, you're going to become negative, and you have to surround yourself with people that are going to uplift you. They're going to challenge you to do different things, look at things differently. Even in the nicest way, be like, you know what, Gina, cut down your nails.
Yeah.
I mean, the littlest things, you have to surround yourself with people that are going to help you and uplift you and be honest. And another thing, I'm very defensive.
Yes, you are.
Sometimes I don't like when someone tells me what to do.
No one, who does?
No one.
Right.
But then once you listen, you're like, all right, you know what? I can take it. Mm-hmm. But initial, I might get a little tiny bit defensive, but you have to be open to what people, if the person really has genuine, all my girlfriends do. But yeah, I was defensive for a long time, where then I finally, had to listen, where I was like, you know what? You're right. Like you have to just being around positive people and people that will guide you and not, even outfit. No, Gina, that does not look cute. Change, like you have to be honest. And even if you don't want to hear that it looks stupid, go change and look better. I don't know.
Yep. And set your boundaries.
Yeah.
Not just with relationships, not just with a woman and a man relationship, because we talk about that too, but like it's with relationships with your friends, relationships with your parents. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to set boundaries, especially when you're like me or anybody. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. People go to you because you're so used to, you always say yes,
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year is when someone asked me to do something and I was like, you know what? I'm not canceling my work. No, I can't do it. And I felt so guilty though. Like
the guilt is still there.
The guilt is still there. And I felt bad. I was like, I feel really bad. Like I was going to arrange my whole day, but there's no way I would have been able to do what I was asked. So, but that guilt it is still there. And I did feel bad, so that is something that I struggle with, and probably anybody. You feel bad, and you shouldn't feel bad for.
But that's your heart.
You.
That's your heart, and that's your character. So like, that's what empaths do too. Like that comes with your heart and your character. Not everyone thinks like that, but there are a lot of people that do. And and that, again, that also comes from how you're raised and everything. But like that is where, you know, if that person feels that you are wrong, or that why did Gina chose herself before she could help me? Well, that's an issue with them.
Let them.
Yeah, that's an issue with them, and that's their issue. So that's what I've learned, like, in being in relationships too, like me always giving. It's, you know, and someone reacting, we just actually heard it on the way here in the car. We were listening to Let Them. And, you know, it's like you do so much for somebody, like that. You're trying to be the best. You're trying to be the best for them and make them happy. And you're still not good enough. And they're still not happy.
That's when you got to walk away.
That's when you have to walk away. And that's what I said last time about like growing. Like, you could be growing in any relationship. You could be growing here. And if that person's still here and doesn't want to look at not change. I mean, no one changes. Everyone's the same. So, but like doesn't want to evolve with you. That's not the right partner. That's not the right partner. So
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I learned. And
like you said, I
wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through. That's why, like, you know, and again, after you go through something, I mean, I was bitter after. I was like, God, I wasted all that time. But then I'm like, you know what? No, he did help me through hard things that I went through in my life. We grew apart. You know, I wish him the best. But yeah, you can't stay in something when in your heart, you know, like I knew.
Yeah.
And I wasn't and that's what held me back for so long. You know, I was like, oh, I feel bad, you know, but once I started putting Gina first, I was like,
yeah.
I mean, all that matters is I did and I learned. And I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't go through that. You know, you can't change your past. You can just move on from it forward. And
no matter
make
what,
it positive.
No matter what scars you have on the inside and the outside, you got to move forward.
Yeah.
What's hope for Gina now? Where do you see, how do you like, you know, how do you want to live life now?
Happy. I want to live life happy. I want to not, you know, stress kills you, gives you heart attacks. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
So I just want to, you know, be healthy too. I want to continue doing what I'm doing, like working out wise, eating healthy. That's really hard being Italian. You know, your mom's making focaccia bread and you're like, oh, I'm going to eat this salad. That alone, choosing just those little choices in your day, choosing that, putting yourself first and not, it's hard.
Yeah.
But you feel better after, because if I would have ate half the focaccia bread, I wouldn't feel good after.
Yeah. I was also listening to an orthopedic surgeon the other day, and she said, like, you know, we have to, be women, just women in general, but everyone, you have to put in the work. What you do now in your body is going to affect you when you get older. So
100%.
The exercise, what you put in your body as far as foods, lifting weights as a woman, like it's very, very,
I was intimidated.
Very, it's very advantageous because it helps with your bones as you continue to grow old. So like, again, like you said, little things, the little changes,
a long way,
but the hope is there because you've made those changes. Mm-hmm. You've made those drastic changes in your life. I mean, we've gone through battles before we met. We've gone through battles together. We still, you know, have battles in our mind where thoughts come up, and, you know, you're able to call somebody for support, even if it's a little thing, and not worry about being judged. That's very important. So, you know, again, thank you for sharing your story, and I feel like people will resonate, and it goes a long way because women need to feel supported. And sometimes when there's jealousy, there's a lot of inner issues with women's insecurities that when the support is not there, I have a lot of close friends and a lot of friends around me that I surround myself with, but it's positive people. My friends are friends for life that have known me from either family life, or the friends that I have now are friends that are going to bring positivity in my life. Cause there's just no room for it. There's no room for it. And
no negativity allowed.
Yeah. It's just, life's too short. So
life is too short. like you said, we're only here for one life.
Yes, we are. So thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope that, this resonates with some people, and it really does, because we are both lucky to have each other and have our families and friends support us. And if I didn't have my family and friends, I wouldn't be here today, and either would Gina. And I feel like that's so important. But you also do have to not be afraid to build relationships with strangers, with other people that maybe be going through. I mean, I've met so many people since I've started this nonprofit. I've met so many people from all different walks of life and hearing different stories. And it's just all these people have come into my life for a reason, and we need to bring change and set a movement for our next generation. And that's our kids. We want our children and our future children to not go through these types of traumas. We have so much education and awareness today, and it's so important. So we just got to continue educating our kids and help them through their struggles in their mind, through those changes in life that we go through. So thank you guys, Everett. Thank you thank you, Gina, again for being on my podcast today.
Thanks for being my trusted advisor.
Thank you.